I'm Ashton Addison from BLOCKv Capital for Investment Pitch Media and the Crypto Coin Show. And today, once again, on Blockchain Interviews, we have Reeve Collins, co-founder of BLOCKv. Reeve, welcome back to the show, and thanks for taking the time today.
Absolutely, happy to be here.
You're very welcome. Let's dive into all things NFTs, smart NFTs, and everything else that BLOCKv is doing. For the people who didn't see our first interview, I'd love to just recap and get a high-level overview of all of the different solutions that your team is driving into the industry, and then we'll dive into the details from there.
Yeah, we were really the first people in the space to even conceptualize what NFTs were. So back in 2015, we started the company, which eventually became BLOCKv, and we did the ICO in 2017. And we were the first ever platform to build NFTs. So we make them highly programmable digital objects. So the ability to make them like micro apps, however, they're tokens. Mm-hmm. And when we started this back in 2015 and then really started promoting in 2017, there wasn't even a word NFT. And then NFT kind of exploded on the scene over time. But what we realized was there's massive utility in digital tokens if they're programmable. And now you're seeing all those use cases come to life many years later, such as tickets and coupons and new ways for brands to engage in a one-to-one manner with their consumers. But more importantly, not just engage and communicate, but to provide those consumers value. In the past, it's very difficult for a brand to provide an individual consumer value for interacting with that brand. And so now this is going to reinvent what loyalty even means when it comes to like the brand loyalty space and influencer marketing and things like that.
Definitely. And great to hear that you started on it very early. And I'm curious on, your initial vision on what NFTs look like when you started it. And then, really through the last 2 years, the popularity of it coming more so through digital artwork and now expanding into the utility of other industries.
Absolutely. So when we started, there weren't any NFTs. It really was a novel concept. We felt that because coming out of Tether, so my previous venture, as you know, I was the co-founder and CEO of Tether, and putting the dollar on the blockchain was a highly regulated space, dealing with tons of lawyers and regulators and trying to figure out the best way to do that, to navigate that landscape, not to mention dealing with all of the bankers and where we're going to put the money, et cetera. And yes, the money is still all there. But anyways, that was such an arduous process. And so the concept was, let's focus on something that isn't going to be so heavily scrutinized and regulated, such as digital objects, digital collectibles. How do we create tokens that have value outside of just financial value as a means of an exchange or for transactions? And so that's how the concept came about. And we really dove in and built a super robust platform. We did the ICO in 2017, and to this day, we're still one of the only ICOs from that era that's still actively building and has a massive technology platform and lots of clients. It's very sad that it's not reflected in the token, because no matter how big of clients we get, Pepsi, PlayStation, Doritos, we used to do something fun with Ben and Jerry's, professional bull riding, like on and on. The clients in our network are massive global clients. It isn't impacting the token. We didn't really promote or market the token as aggressively or the ways that other companies did. What we promoted was our technology and outbuilding business. And I'll also say that the reason why we're not the largest company in this space, we also shifted our focus, because when we started, there was no craze of NFTs, so there was no revenue or profitability in it. So we didn't focus as much on building the developer tools. What we built was an enterprise-grade platform that enabled global brands to enter this business, because these large brands and companies had the budgets and the ability that we could make a real business out of it. And so what that has done is we missed that first wave of speculators, of just putting artwork on the blockchain and lots of people speculating on it, because we really built utility and we were going after large brands that wanted to use these tokens as a new way to communicate, versus putting their brand IP out there and hoping it would get bid up and people would make a lot of money on that secondary market. And now that frothiness, that window is kind of closed. NFTs 2.0 is going to be all about utility. And that's when BLOCKv and our token V will shine, because we're talking to the largest brands and companies in the world, because now they need an enterprise grade platform that has a super robust wallet and a super robust ability to create these highly programmable, excuse me, these highly programmable smart NFTs. And we have the ability to deliver that on a global level and pass all of their due diligence on the legal side and the technical side, which people who haven't dealt with these large global companies can't even begin to understand how complex of a process that is. But that's what we've been focused on, excuse me, for all these years. And now when NFT 2.0, the utility side of NFTs is going to hit the market, we'll definitely be the leaders.
Definitely great insights, Reeve. And yeah, with utility, I feel like a lot of the NFT craze has been picked up by artists, which is good for them. But looking at the actual functionality of the NFTs, whether it's just a picture or whether it actually has access or some utility of some sort, I feel like there's going to be a time, as you mentioned, with NFTs 2.0, when the things that really don't have long-term value or deeper value than what you see on the face will sort of fade away and come to fruition with more functionality. And it sounds like your team is already working with a lot of these big brands. I'm curious, we've seen a lot of brands move into artwork as well, just what seems like, based off the hype of NFT clubs and Nike's joining in, Adidas and Pepsi, as you mentioned. And obviously they want to work with somebody reputable, so BLOCKv sounds like a good solution for that. But is the utility in the way that they want to use it, is that available right now with BLOCKv, or how exactly are you providing the utility through the technology to these large companies?
Absolutely. So we have the BLOCKv network. BLOCKv is the foundation below it and the real engine behind it, and that's where our token resides. And then we built companies on top of it. So I have a company called Smart Media Technologies and Smart Media Labs. And this company goes out to the brands, and we have a large sales force that goes out. There's 150 people in the company. And we span the gamut of services for media buying, which is television plus digital plus NFTs. And that's how we talk to all the brands, because we showcase to them that NFTs are a new way to engage with your consumer. It's not just ads that you're running anymore. And so now let's create an NFT campaign, and we can distribute those through the traditional media channels. But what you're going to capture is a new wallet address and ability to market to that wallet. In the past, it was always a race to win the inbox. How can I get your email? How can I market you via email? That was really the only channel we've had, and the most effective channel that brands have had for the last 20 plus years. That's evolving to a race to get to the wallet. How do I get your wallet address? How do I get permission to market to you within that wallet? And we're really leading the charge on that front, because we have a robust wallet, and we offer up all these services for the brands to create compelling campaigns to give people digital objects, collectibles, and then further market them in that wallet. Because once you get a brand's NFT, if you share it with friends, you might get more, you might get discounts. We create lots of different programs. And so now you have a wallet that the brand has the ability to send more NFTs and interact with you. It's really kind of the leading the charge and on the cutting edge of what Web 3.0 means. Because our transition to Web 3.0 from Web 2.0, I'd say that the key feature of that transition is the ability to log into a website with a wallet instead of logging in with your email. Because then that gives the website and yourself, it gives the website the ability to reward you through cryptocurrencies and NFTs. If you just do it in email, all you're going to get is more spam. And so it really is the foundation for what I believe Web 3.0 is going to be.
Yeah, I really like that analogy, Reeve. And you're right about getting access to your wallet instead of the email. And I feel like by now people are trying to get as little emails as possible because they know most of them are spam. So good insight. Now, you mentioned earlier about smart NFTs and sort of coining that through BLOCKv. I'm curious if that just means utility of an NFT, or is there something more? Yeah,
it's the programmability. So we have a platform that really makes it easy for creators to program their NFTs where they can do lots of things. AR, VR, they're event aware. They'll change state based on different events that take place because they have a listener to the internet. If you share them, they'll change state. Or if you share one and someone in your downline activates it, yours changes state. So it's really just this ability to program each one of those objects like an app. So it's a little container that you can program, and whatever type of marketing activation or gaming type activation you want to do can be programmed into that NFT. So it really enables all the utility that's coming. We have the platform built already to provide that.
Definitely, very cool. And with this transition of NFTs 2.0 and ridding the non-valued NFTs out of the space, how quickly do you see people realizing that valueless NFTs will no longer be in the limelight and will move to something where we see it as the norm for big brands all using NFTs that actually provide utility to their customers?
Well, it's a great question, and look at the example of all the popular NFTs that started out as just artwork, even Bored Apes and all of the Nike stuff that they're doing with Artifact Studios. A lot of those things were just JPEGs to start with. But once they built a community around it and got a following and some popularity, then they're trying to develop usefulness and utility. So if you own a Bored Ape, you might have access to a party or an event. Same with the Artifact NFTs, you get the first drops of different physical products. So everyone's adding utility to the simple JPEG. So the days of people buying and selling JPEGs are over, unless it's fine art or valuable art or valuable IP, unless it's a true collectible, unless its value is in its collectability, which is absolutely valid and makes a lot of sense. But the validity of its collectability was overblown in the beginning, right? Everyone really wanted to collect these JPEGs and thought they were going to go up and down in value. That bubble has definitely burst. So now the underlying art, if it's just art, it needs to have some collectability and some reason for it to be special. If not, there'll be additional utility pretty much to all NFTs.
Great insight. And you mentioned how the V token really isn't keeping up, and I feel like it's the world is always backwards, where projects that really don't have a lot of fundamental value but are doing something amazing, and they're not focused on hype marketing. The token doesn't overvalue itself and be volatile in the market. And projects that just focus on marketing but really don't have anything in the back end, their token's always pumping and people are moving it around. What do you see that shift happening, where in the end the companies like BLOCKv that are actually providing the most value, that will in turn move into value for the token holders?
Yeah, it's longevity. So the company's been around 7 years. Our token's been live over 4 years. And it's not going, we're not going anywhere. The company is profitable. It's doing well. There's lots of people working towards improving all of these things, improving the token economics and integrating it more, and over time promoting and marketing it more appropriately. And so the token will showcase its value, because we are a true utility token. In order to issue our NFTs, you have to utilize our token, and we have to buy it on the open market. We're not even just taking it off of our balance sheet or giving it to people from our balance sheet. It creates demand on the open market. And so as that fine tunes and scales, there'll be more value driven towards that token. And as we build more awareness and branding and a larger network, because these two companies, Smart Media Technologies and Vadim Inc., are both very successful and going to be very large companies, all powered by that platform. And so logically in my mind, I can't think and help, but there's real value there. But then when you see how the market's reacted to it, the two are just to date haven't been all that connected. But you're right. You look at the meme tokens, which all you're investing in is a logo, and they're worth billions of dollars. So it just showcases that most things are driven on hype.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, interesting. And
when you marry the two, sorry to interrupt, but just to add that, when you marry the two, which is massive hype and massive utility and value and amazing technology, you get Bitcoin and Ethereum. So, right, you do get some really extraordinary projects.
Definitely. No, I love it. And you mentioned that the platform is live. You're already working with great partners. What do you have up your sleeve for the rest of 2022 for BLOCKv? Is it just more partners? You mentioned tokenomics. What else is in the works for your team currently?
Yeah, for BLOCKv, it's really promoting the companies in our networks, such as Smart Media and Vatum Inc., and showcasing the abilities and the clients that they're going to do. And the focus for those companies is really to usher brands into Web 3.0. How do we become the go-to advisors and technology for these large corporations that want to participate in Web 3.0? We provide them a wallet, an NFT, and the Metaverse. We'll build out that world for them and ensure that our wallets and NFTs are fully integrated and then interoperable with other metaverses. Because the big shift that I see in Metaverse, we're also at this Metaverse 1.0, which is Sandbox and Decentraland, and even the concept of what Meta is touting to be, which is this universe to itself where you go into this world, run around and see all these different brands. The way I envision the metaverse being activated and taking off is on an individual site-by-site basis. Every website's going to have its metaverse. And the word metaverse means a lot of different things to other people, but imagine instead of the word metaverse, it's just an enhanced website. So your website went from 2D to 3D. You click come inside, the website expands, and it gets all of those features and characteristics of a metaverse, which is like a large game where you have an avatar or just a chat bubble with a video bubble with your face. And you can interact with your friends, interact with salespeople, and interact with the merchandise in a much more powerful, engaging, and emotional way. That's what's going to take place before you have these destination worlds that have thousands of things in them, like the Oasis from Ready Player One.
Yeah, great insight, Reeve. And I agree with that analogy. I feel like people that are trying to build metaverses right now, everyone's trying to build their own social media platform almost, where it's not just your website, we're building a whole world. When in turn, if you compare it to Web 1.0, everyone's trying to build Amazon rather than just building their website with a store on it that's just focused on yourself. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that evolves and seeing people focus on what they do best and not trying to rebuild the whole world into the metaverse. Now, with the big brands that you're already working with, getting more adoption and having them bring in millions of people into NFTs and Web3 for the first time, how do you see that playing out very easily? I feel like user experience, user interface, and having wallets that my grandma can understand is obviously super important to onboarding people into Web3.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to start out with wallets. So cryptocurrency and the blockchain did all this great service, which is educate the world around wallets and how to use them. And then this explosion in popularity of NFTs showcased that people should and do put value on digital objects. So when it reaches the masses, a lot of people, especially the early adopters, already know how to use a wallet. But then the utilization of wallets will proliferate. Will become more popular, and but the way you use wallets will become much easier, and then the objects in those wallets will be valued. So when you say, how do these big brands do it? Well, the concept of a wallet has already been, everyone's familiar with it, or at least knows about it. So they'll have an easy to use wallet, and especially when the brands start out and get people to enter in the wallet, there'll be a lot of value for that individual. It'll either be a big sweepstakes, enter to win something amazing, or here's a big discount, or come here to get the exclusive drop or the first. So there'll be a big enticement for the consumers to go through the hurdle of setting up a wallet and interacting with that object, even though we're trying to make that hurdle very small. And so that's how it's really going to start getting adoption. And you'll see it in a lot of loyalty programs and loyalty points. It'll be the next way that companies it'll be the evolution of their loyalty program, because now you're going to get these NFTs for loyalty. And the beauty is that if you rack up all these loyalty points at these websites, you can then take those NFTs and exchange them and trade them and sell them elsewhere. And the interoperability is going to change the game to make getting loyalty points even more valuable for those users.
Definitely. I think interoperability will be key, especially for all those people who have racked up loyalty points at one company and they expire and they can't be traded for anything, and they really became useless in the long term. So I'm really looking forward to extracting value and being able to interchange it around all of Web3. So very great insights, Reeve. For the people who are interested in learning more about BLOCKv and the partners you're working with and the enterprise platform, what is the best way for them to follow along and learn more?
Yeah, absolutely. You can go to blockv.io and smartmediatech.com and vatum.com. So those are the three. BLOCKv is the engine. Those two other companies are the main companies in the BLOCKv network, and you'll get tons of information, kind of get a feeling for what the future holds for us.
Very exciting. Thank you so much for the time, Reeve. I will leave all those three website links as well for the platforms in the description box below. All the best with everything BLOCKv and the V token, and let's follow up again in the near future.
I appreciate it. Yeah, have a wonderful day. Thank you for the time.